So you're either watching this video because you are moving to London soon, or maybe you know friends or family who are moving over here, or maybe you're just curious about what you should do if you ever do plan to move to London. So I actually made the move 5 years ago, back in August 2019, right before the COVID pandemic changed the world. And honestly, thinking back on the last 5 years, it's been such an amazing time over here. Like, I absolutely have fallen in love with London. Couldn't imagine my life anywhere else. But in saying that, it's definitely a tricky city to get yourself set up in, to make the move over to, but it's totally worth it. So I thought I'd just come on here and share some of my tips for what I would recommend you do if you are planning to make the move. It's definitely something I wish I looked more into before making the move, because it probably would have made my arrival a bit smoother. So first of all, my biggest tip, of course, would be to save as much money as you can. I have always been a really bad saver. Financially, I am irresponsible. I can't, put money away to save my life. So when I moved over here, I did my best, tried to save as much money as I could, and I brought over with me about 4,000 Australian dollars. So that equals about 2,000 British pounds, which wasn't really enough, if I'm being honest, to make me feel completely comfortable on arrival. So I turned up without a job lined up, and my partner had arrived a few weeks before and had organised a house. So I already had financial commitments as soon as I landed. It meant that I needed to find a job really quickly, and added a lot of pressure upon landing in the country, because I knew that my money would run out. It's not going to be any surprise for me to tell you that London is a really expensive city, especially compared to where I was coming from. I was living in Brisbane, which is was a relatively affordable city in Australia. So moving to London was quite a shock to the system, especially at the time when I arrived here. My money was in Australian dollars, so everything I bought, I was converting to Australian dollars, and it just seemed ridiculous. So yeah, my biggest tip would be save as much money as you can. As soon as you make that decision to move here, start putting cash away, start cancelling plans with friends. Trust me, it'll be worth it. You will love your life over here. But having as much cash as you can in your bank is going to mean that you'll just feel a bit more at ease. You'll have more time to, scope the job market and not feel unnecessary pressure to be in a job straight away. That takes me to my next tip, which is to research the job market and apply for jobs before you get here. So I was definitely all over LinkedIn, changed my location on LinkedIn to London. Do that because it means you show up in recruiters in London's feeds. Also on my resume or CV, I removed my address, and I included a line at the very top saying that I was a dual UK-Australian citizen with full working rights, looking for my next opportunity in London. You might not be a dual citizen, but I think it's really worth putting in up the top there, if you have a visa where you're not going to need sponsorship, to highlight that, because I think it really helps employers to see that there's not additional bureaucracy they're going to have to go through to get you on board, that you're a simple hire, you've got all the skills they need, and you're about to land in London. It can't hurt even adding, the date of your arrival in London, and that you're ready to start from the following week or something like that, to really make it clear to recruiters and to potential employers that you are certainly moving to London, that you're ready to go as soon as you get here, because that will just make you a lot more competitive, because there is a lot of people in London, so of course the job market is more competitive. So yeah, anything you can add on to make yourself that bit more, simple hire will really help. I also would suggest getting in touch with recruitment agencies as part of your researching for jobs, because recruiters are really good, in my experience, at finding you interviews and getting your foot in the door. I'd already been talking to a recruitment company called Tate Recruitment when I was moving over, and they secured me a few interviews interviews pretty much in my first week, which was really nice and really reassuring. So yeah, definitely, register with recruitment companies, as many as you can, and let them know what you're looking for. Most of them will want to do interviews with you, but I'm pretty sure they do them virtually. I ended up having mine when I got here, but yeah, definitely get in touch with them because they often have jobs that you won't actually find on, things like Indeed or LinkedIn. My next tip is to get yourself set up financially. So setting up a bank. I am definitely not a financial advisor or anything like that, so none of this is sponsored advertisement, none of it's my financial advice. I'm just saying what I did, which was I applied for Monzo, which is a really popular bank over here, especially for, 20s and 30s and 40-year-olds. It's all online bank, and I was actually able to apply for it before arriving by providing a postal address. So if you know where you're going to be living when you get here, then you could try that route, and it just means that when you get here you have a bank account ready to go and you can move your money into a UK account and not need to be using, your home country's bank institutions and paying international fees. It also means if you do land that job, you've already got your bank to be paid a salary into ready and set up, and it just removes another thing you have to worry about with the whole applying for jobs situation. So yeah, definitely research banks. If you can use an address to get set up, then do it, because it will just make your life that much easier. So my next tip is to do with your national insurance number. So a national insurance number over here is required for you to be able to work and pay your taxes and get a salary. So I guess it's probably what people in the US have as their social security number, and in Australia we have a tax file number. So I think it's all the same. But to get a national insurance number, you need to book in for an appointment at the job centre. They have them all across the UK and all throughout London, of course. Booking that in as soon as possible, I really recommend. So I'd booked my appointment in as well before arriving so that I could have it as soon as possible, have my national insurance number set up for when I apply for jobs, because you will be asked for your national insurance number. Quite often they'll want to, check that during interview as well. So definitely get your appointment for a national insurance number booked in with the job centre as soon as possible. When I did mine, you had to do it in person. It may have changed since then because COVID obviously occurred, but yeah, definitely get it done. My final tip is to be researching where you want to live and start putting feelers out across London and in online communities to find yourself a room, because honestly, the rental market is quite tough here. Also private rentals, so through a real estate agent, they're going to be quite tricky if you're a new arrival in the country, because a lot of them want, proof of previous residence. They want to see pay slips. They want to know that you are financially secure. And even though you might have money in your bank, without a job at the start, it's probably going to put you further down on the list. And there's a lot of people looking for rooms in London, unsurprisingly. So yeah, I would say your best bet is to go for more of a flat share type situation, at least for the first few months. The good thing is I see this all the time. I'm in a lot of the Aussies in London groups, and I'm sure other countries have similar expat communities as well on Facebook and on online forums, where you can let people know, I'm arriving on these days, I'm looking for a room in this kind of area. If you know of anyone, let me know. If you know of a room going, let me know. And I see so many people in those communities getting rooms and getting leads out of them. So definitely take a look, put your name out there, let people know you're coming, because that will help, get your foot in the door, I guess, and start moving your living situation on. I'd also suggest really thinking through where you place yourself. So obviously London's huge, and unless you know where you're going to be working, you could put yourself, deep south and be working deep north and be up for a 2-hour commute one way each day. The other side to that is that central London's super expensive, so it's quite unaffordable for a lot of people. But definitely have a look at the kind of area that you might want to live. I know, a lot of Australians move to places like Clapham. I live in Highbury. Again, there's a lot of Australians up here as well, but quite often the more zone 2, zone 3 areas of London are a bit cheaper than central, but also mean that your commute's not going to be as bad if you're working on the other side of the city. So yeah, have a look at areas where you might want to live and then put that into your requests on these online communities, and hopefully you'll find something. I am planning to do a bit of a video on my favourite places in London based off my time here. I've spent a lot of it in Islington and Walthamstow, which is all north, so I'm definitely a north of the river kind of guy. But there's also some amazing places in the south and in the east and the west, so anywhere you go, you'll find a home. It's more about what's in your budget, where are you going to work, and what you can find when you first get here. So yeah. So hopefully you found that helpful. I know those tips weren't necessarily groundbreaking, but they are probably things that you might think, oh, I'll wait until I get to London. But I really think if you do some of these before you get here, you're just taking that extra unnecessary pressure off yourself for you to get here and actually enjoy being in London. Like, it's an amazing thing to do. Don't be daunted. It's a big city, it's a big change, but honestly, it's like the best thing I've ever done in my life, and so many people do it every year for a reason. And when you get over here, you know, I'm sure you won't regret it. And also remember that you're gonna make new friends, meet new people. It'll be an adjustment, but you will love it. And yeah, hopefully my tips help you do it a little bit smoother. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to do a few more videos about living over here and sort of my suggestions and things that I liked and things that I wish I knew before. So if there's anything that you want to know in particular, like send me a message or put it in the comments. I'm happy to come back to you. And yeah, all right, thanks, bye.